how to make money as a detailer.
Hi, I'm Ivan.
I'm Nick.
And this is the DIY Detail Podcast. Professional detailing is a never-changing thing. It's always growing, it's always getting better, it's always improving. But how are you as a detailer following along with that?
Look, I had a successful, to me, mobile detailing business out of a sedan and then a truck, and then I had an 800 square foot shop, Ivan, and then a 4,000 square foot shop and a business partner. I can't say that anything was a failure because along that journey, a YouTube channel blossomed, we became friends, and it led to this. So life is good, but there's a part of me that wishes I could have really made it as a detailer.
Right.
I was busy, I was good at what I did, even though it took me a long time. The results were good, but it came at the expense of my personal life.
Right.
And I was working a full-time career, and what I'm saying is, if I could do it again, Ivan, what would you recommend I do to succeed? So this is for a detailer out there who's already doing it, maybe someone who wants to start. General tips, but I thought maybe you could offer some personal ones that might actually impact you.
So my business forte or my background has been in detailing for 45 years, and our crowning jewel other than DIY was running our franchise operation. We had 26 franchises and we're doing rather well with it. To me, detailing is definitely a business. And as a business owner, that is one thing that the passionate detailer versus the entrepreneur are sort of butting heads sometimes. And your entrepreneur side, the little entrepreneur on your shoulder is going, do this. And your passionate guy is going, no, we got to do this and 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 this. Because Nick is a great example of spending way too many hours, way past what the customer was expecting, and the customer not seeing a difference between what he could have done in 2 hours and what took him 20 hours.
I know that detailing is fun and was fun.
Yeah.
And that's why I did it, is because I loved it, right?
Yeah.
So speaking to the passionate detailer out there, where should they start? Should they be cool with mobile? Or if they know a little bit about it like I do, would you go right for a shop?
It depends on your situation, where you are, and what you can find in terms of a shop. Mobile has much more overhead than a shop. And I know a lot of you are looking strangely at the screen at the moment, but yes, a shop, you know your overhead before the beginning of the month. You know what your rent is going to be, you know all of that. When you're mobile, you don't know what your overhead is going to be because your overhead is calculated in losses, meaning I was stuck in traffic, it rained, it snowed, the customer was a no-show, I didn't have any cars to do that day. Whereas a shop, you can have 2 or 3 cars lined up, ready to go. It doesn't matter if it's raining or snowing or 120 degrees out there. Get air conditioning, that's a big tip. But anyways, you can have the work lined up for you. And your customers get stuck in traffic coming to you. You don't get stuck in traffic going to them. So a mobile detailer's overhead is calculated in lost potential income. And that is something that a lot of detailers don't really know how to calculate. One of the questions I give when I'm coaching someone is, your employee wastes 10 minutes. How long does it cost you? Most people, their cost analysis comes down to, okay, I pay my employee $30 an hour, 10 minutes, $5. So it cost me $5. Couldn't be further from the truth. You should be charging at least $120 an hour. So if they wasted that amount of time, they wasted 10 minutes, well, that is 10 minutes times $2 an hour, or $2 a minute, sorry. So that's $40 or $20 that they wasted. Then that is the money you could have made. But since they wasted that time, you now have lost opportunity cost, which means another $20. So you lost $40 plus their $5 wage, so $45. So every minute you waste, every minute your employee wastes, you're losing money.
Wow, you went really deep there.
It's something that every entrepreneur should know. And if you don't know it, instead of lurking online and going through all the Facebook groups on detailing and learning how to do 8-stage polishing instead of 7-stage polishing, why don't you take a business class? Why don't you look into business instead? If you're trying to succeed as a business owner, you need to know the business side of it. There's a TV show, Shark Tank, I think you guys call it. Okay, so on Shark Tank, it's just that. What happens to the entrepreneur that goes up in front of the sharks and is all excited, enthusiastic about his product and doesn't know his numbers?
He gets, lambasted.
They get flushed, like immediately.
Yep.
Right, because they're not business owners. They might be very passionate technicians, They're not business owners. And there is a difference.
So I was gonna ask, do you think someone should go get a training if they're feeling like their skills aren't quite where they could be? And I say skills like on a car, right?
Right.
On paint correction, on interiors. You teach classes. You must value actually training detailers and getting trained.
Right. Getting training is an important part, but it's more important to get business training than it is the hands-on training. And the hands-on training, most of the people that I train already knew what I was teaching. They may not have adapted it, they may not have understood why, but they knew the mechanics of it. And our YouTube channel is basically my classes, distilled and moved around and all that. And same thing with my coaching, my business coaching, it's here. It's all on DIY Detail and Detailer's Business Academy. But people need to hear it in their own terms. And I'll explain it different ways, different times. There are many things that I've explained on this channel, different ways of doing things. And Nick, still to this day, I'll be doing something and explaining it, it's like, oh, I never understood it that way. And you guys as well. So I always try to explain it differently. And that is part of being a business owner, is being able to reach your customers. So for me, my customer is you guys. My customer is the other detailers out there trying to learn. And hands-on training, while it's important, you can learn just about everything you need off of YouTube to actually do the skills. You just need to practice a little bit.
I want to talk about detailing, but I also want to talk about the business side. So I'm kind of torn.
Yeah.
We were having a discussion with Jamie the cleaner on the House of Rags recently, and we talked about skills and then also tricks in terms of getting Google reviews.
Yeah.
And should you hire a company like Detailer's Roadmap to set up your website, and you're able as a content retention management system.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on some of those? Because you dropped some bombs today that I really think could be valuable for folks.
Right. So basically, when you're starting your business, start as an entrepreneur. And the money you're going to spend on a proper website with proper SEO, not just, hey, Joe down the street does SEO and I'm going to, give him $50 a month. That's not proper SEO. Trust me. If you get really, really lucky, maybe, but get someone that's tried and true. Like we said, Detailer's Roadmap is one of those. And then a CRM or customer retention management software. Those are spectacular for helping the small business owner. As Nick said, we were talking with Jamie the cleaner. And Jamie said, Urable changed his business because he didn't have time to do all the little background stuff that Urable does for him. And that made his business more profitable to the point where now he's got too many leads and too much work.
Yeah, those are two platforms that I didn't have when I started, and
No,
I think would have helped me a lot.
I had Yellow Pages when I started.
No websites.
No, websites didn't exist. The internet didn't exist.
I mean, one thing I would say to folks is don't be afraid to get on camera.
Yeah.
Get on camera. It's certainly my background doing journalism, on camera, TV reporter and anchor, and then Hawk Pro Detailing YouTube channel. But I feel like I was kind of made for that moment. Being on camera was something I did for work. A lot of folks aren't used to that, right? And so if you can get yourself on camera, your customers will get to know you. And I think that brings magic and leads, and I don't know,
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it? Because not everyone feels comfortable in front of a camera.
No, you want to be the face of your business. And it's a double-edged sword. But in the beginning, you need to be the face of your business, and you need to have a face for the business. If it's just a name, and people can't identify who you are, how you look, and how you interact with people, then it's more difficult. And today, everything is happening on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. Those platforms are what people go to, and Google, obviously. Now, if you can have a small YouTube channel, the point isn't to be a YouTube channel like us. But as a detailer, if you have a YouTube channel that just shows the work that you do, befores and afters, and just a static photo is not good enough. People need to see video. Shorts are a great way of growing a YouTube channel, and they're a great way of getting customers, and you can geolocalize where your videos go to just by tagging your city name or your county name. That will help get the people close to you. Nick said, one thing that he done when he started, he had his Hawk detailing channel, Hawk Pro detailing channel, and with that, he asked some people, give me a Google review and I'll send you a bottle of product. That was all well and fine. Google does not care about a review that's 500 miles away because they know they're not coming to you to detail. What Google knows is that if someone put your address into Google, navigated to your business, then you did the work. Google doesn't know you did the work, but then they leave a review. Google knows that they navigated to your business, so they know they've physically been there. Then they left a review. That to Google is an important review, and it's one that's going to show up more and it's going to help your website grow.
One thing that did help me get a lot of business, but it was a real time commitment, I don't know what they charge, is BNI.
Yeah.
They met every Wednesday at the local rec center in the basement, every Wednesday at like 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
You committed to 8 to 9 in the morning, and everyone in there got to know you, and everyone was a business leader.
Yes.
Right? You've got a realtor, you've got a doctor, you've got a dentist, you've got a guy who owns a lawnmower or a lawn care company.
Yeah.
You might have a detailer or a carpet cleaner. And every week you just share an educational moment to the point where everyone in that room gets to like, know, and trust you.
Right.
So they're going to probably hire you because they'll have some disposable income. They're usually well-to-do folks, but business owners as well.
Yeah.
And then if you do a good job for them, they'll start recommending you.
Right.
And it's a great way to build sort of an elite network in your community. I'm just sharing something that I did.
Yeah.
It was a time and money investment, but it certainly was worth it. It was just, it was a lot of time.
And it's a word of mouth.
Yes.
And word of mouth, despite the era we're in, is still the best form of advertising. But you have to create that word of mouth. And doing BNI is a good thing. Joining your local Toastmasters group is a great way as well. There's a lot of different things you can do for that. Now, as a detailing entrepreneur, what is your goal? Is it to satisfy your customer or satisfy your ego? That is a really big question and is one that allows people to fail dramatically because they're trying to satisfy their ego, they're trying to satisfy the other detailers online and not really caring what the customer wants.
It's very important that you listen to Yvan because I had really stellar results on a lot of my details, but it just took me a long time.
Right. We did a car today here. It didn't take us a long time to polish it and coat it. A couple hours. When the customer picked it up, I wasn't there when he picked it up, but Nick was. Apparently his reaction was stellar.
He was just floored with enthusiasm.
Yeah.
He loves his car. We one-stepped it with a rotary and the jeweling pad. We did not remove defects. We just amped up the gloss, put the 5-year coating on after adhesion promoter polish. It was easy. It was never a vehicle that I would have sent with that many swirls and scratches. 10-year-old paint, he track car, like.
Yeah.
But he adored it when it came back, when he came back.
Because the customer isn't comparing the car to another car he saw online from another detailer 2 days ago that I can take pictures that the car looks flawless when it's completely scratched. Anyone can do that. So don't necessarily believe everything you see in pictures and stuff from other detailers because they're trying to impress their customers too. So don't worry about that. But your customers' expectations and your expectations are completely different. It's very easy to manage your customers' expectations. It's very hard to manage your own. And that is something that a lot of people don't understand, is that the customer doesn't see what we see. And it's not a good practice to try to educate your customer to show them all the flaws in their paint. If they didn't see them before, let them be happy with flawed paint. And a lot of people, they say, what's the best a car can be? Oh, showroom ready. Have you ever seen a car in a showroom? As a detailer, if you were to bring your inspection light, and you don't even need your inspection light, but if you take an inspection light into a dealership showroom, it's a horror show. It's horrendous.
Yeah, it's so bad.
Yeah, it's a horror flick. It is that bad. But people think that's the best a car will ever be. So just a light polish improves it dramatically.
All right, so the allure of detailing is it's so easy to get in financially.
Yes.
You don't have to spend a lot to really start a business. What I'm hearing from you is you should treat it like an entrepreneur would and invest in the business, spend money on the things you need to spend money on. First of all, how much ought one think about spending, even if they're kind of up and going, but maybe just starting out. And then 2, another big question here is, how do you know if you're profitable enough or if your systems are working or if what you're doing now would merit such a financial investment?
So first of all, are you profitable with what you're doing? And by profitable is, can you pay yourself a salary? Can you pay your overhead? And if the answer is yes, then you're profitable. Now, if you can't pay yourself a salary and, I reinvest everything into the business, that's not going to work long term. Because long term, you need to pay yourself. And if you're not paying yourself and you need to pay yourself first, then your business is not a business. It's just a really expensive hobby. Or it might be a hobby that you get a little money back from, but unless you can actually live from it, it's not a business. To me, anyways. What was the other part of your question?
Well, I guess first of all, qualifying for should I invest this money? So
yeah.
that's my qualification.
Yeah.
And then number 2 is like, how much should I be willing to spend to do these things right?
Yeah, you don't need to spend a lot. A few chemicals, you don't need to start with a steamer and an extractor and a dry ice machine and all these things. A bucket, a wash mitt, and some soap, and you're pretty much there. You'll need a polisher eventually. You'll need a few things. But you can start with a little random orbital polisher that costs $15. We have a video, we'll link it down below. $100 is all you need to start polishing a car. It's not that expensive. And when you're starting out, people aren't expecting concourse level details from you. They're expecting, hey, I want my car cleaned up. And one other thing that when people are starting that is very, very dangerous, and it's a very slippery slope, is do not try to be the lowest price in town. You will never succeed that way, because the customer that wants a $50 interior job, when you raise your prices to $55, they'll be looking for someone to do it for $45. If you start off at a $250 interior, first of all, you'll get much cleaner interiors. Secondly, you'll get customers that won't complain as much because their car was pretty clean when they brought it to you to begin with. And secondly, they won't be shopping around for someone else when you need to raise your prices to $300 because it's not that big of a leap. But if you're doing a $50 interior and it takes you 2 hours, you're better off working at Walmart.
Those are the facts, folks. Those are the facts. Do you think people should try to be solo or have employees? Like, what's the most profitable route, and what kind of person would work best for either route?
So, an employee is definitely a profit machine. So, it's a good way of scaling and growing your business. If you are booked out a couple days in advance, you need an employee, or you need to be more efficient so you're not booked out that far. I know a lot of detailers take it as a point of pride that I'm booked out 3 weeks, I'm booked out a month. That to me is, you can't satisfy your customers for 3 weeks, or you can't satisfy your customers for a month. It's like going to a restaurant, sitting down, reading the menu, maybe getting a drink, maybe even ordering an appetizer, and then you order your steak. I'm ready to eat a steak. This is so good. It's going to be fabulous. And the waiter comes up to you. Perfect. We'll deliver your steak to you in 3 weeks. What do you mean? I want my steak now. It's the same. Someone has come to you. You've taken the time to sell them on a detail. They're going to get this, that. The car's going to be spectacular. I'm booked out 3 weeks. That just kills the buzz. The customer at that point, people want everything now. They don't want it in 3 weeks. They don't want it in 4 weeks. They don't want it in 3 days. For me and my business, what we had loaner cars. And we never booked out completely. We never were fully booked. We had, let's say, 6 technicians working that week. We would only book work for 5 because we knew the 6th one would be busy anyways. Work would come in. So that way, someone came in the door, we hand them a set of keys to the loaner car, that takes away one objection to the sale, and then how can we help you? And we fully expect that they're not driving away in their car, they're driving away in our loaner car. That was a big selling point for us.
So you got to believe it when you hand them those keys that they're already a customer?
Yeah. You hand them the keys, and that surprises a lot of them. And you can lease a small car. It doesn't need to be a fancy car. We had our most popular car as a loaner car, the one that everyone wanted, was a smart car. Yes, with no air conditioning on a hot summer day. And in Quebec, just so you know, it gets into the 90s with 95% humidity in the summer. So air conditioning is a necessary thing. People wanted to drive the smart car. So you don't need an expensive car. I don't think they sell the smart car anymore, but anyways, we had Kia Rios, we had C-Class Mercedes, we had Mitsubishis, we had all sorts of different things. Basically found a good lease deal, and that way with a lease deal, you know that it's gonna cost you this much per month, no matter what. And it's a brand new car, so there's no there's no unexpected expenses.
And Ivan, one thing you say over and over again is answer your gosh darn phone.
Yes, yeah. So the detailer that I'm in my zone, I'm polishing, I don't have time to answer the phone. That is the customer at the other end going, he doesn't have time for my business. He doesn't merit my business because you're not answering your phone. Now, not in your own city, but Google a city beside you and put detailing near whatever city. Call the top 10 detailers there. You're lucky if 3 of them answer the phone. Right, 3. So that's 30%. Out of that 30%, one's gonna answer like, yeah, they're already gone. It's not worth it. The one that answers with a professional, hi, this is Ivan, you're talking with Joe's Detailing, how may I help you? That one, customer's smiling at this point. This is good. Now, the other 70%, some of them will have voicemail, and some of the voicemails will be the voicemail box you have reached is full. The customer can't leave you a message. Then there's some that they never bothered to set up voicemail, or there's the one that's like, this is Joe, you know what to do. Be professional in your voicemail. And when you have a professional voicemail, and when someone takes the time to leave you a message, call them back as soon as possible. Now, there are ways in this day and age of technology to answer your phone and still be polishing or vacuuming, and no one will ever know. It's called noise cancellation. If you have AirPods, you can do it with that. I used to use a trucker's headset because back in the day, that was the best way to do it. I could be vacuuming, polishing a car, driving. I like to drive a lot, so I had a convertible, top down, full wind in the beard. They didn't know I wasn't sitting in a nice quiet office somewhere. So there are technologies to make it so you can answer the phone and still stay in your zone.
You think they should use all DIY detail products, Ivan?
Ideally, yes, but it's not a necessity. Now, our products are designed for the professional. And we sort of started our company on a bit of subterfuge. Just, we've owned up to it before. It's called DIY Detail. And yes, we started aiming at the do-it-yourselfer at home, but knowing full well that these are professional grade products designed for the professional detailer. In the detailing industry, there's this stigma around, it used to be a professional line of products, but now they've gone consumer, they can't be good anymore. We did it the other way around. Let's start with the consumers, and the professionals will figure out just how good the products are and start using them.
Well, we said from the beginning, these are professional grade products.
Yep.
But we want them to be so good that like consumers, when they find us through our videos,
yes,
they won't have to go anywhere else. Because when I started detailing, I was trying all these products, and they had a floor mat cleaner and the Alcantara cleaner and a leather cleaner. Like there's so many specific things that we can go down the rabbit hole of leather. But it was like, let's come up with a product line that you've been using systematically. Like these products will work in the systems you've had in your shops. So good enough for your professional shops.
Right.
For anyone out there, like my dad or my brother or my friend, like here's how to wash your car. And they're that good that you don't have a reason to go anywhere else.
Right. They're simple, easy products to use, and it's a system. Now, I'm very much a systems-based person, and we design the whole DIY product line and systems around what we did in our shops. And our shops were extremely successful. So we know it works. And in that knowledge of how it works and why it works, we're able to teach that to you. Like I said, there's no secrets in my coaching and my teaching. It's all online. It's just you'll have to watch a couple thousand hours of videos. But maybe not a couple thousand, but we're getting close. With that though, it's all there. And we show many, many different ways of washing a car. We might have 50 videos out there of washing cars. We've never done two cars the same way, because we're always trying to show you different ways. And one way might work spectacularly for you, and everybody else online is going, huh? Why are they doing it that way? Everyone is different. Once you understand what works for you and you make your own system, then it's easy for you to replicate that with an employee and teach the employee. And those of you out there are saying, no employee can ever be as good as me, might as well close your business right now. Because your ego is too strong for your profitability. You're not going to be profitable when you do things like that. It's just bad for you, it's bad for your business, and it's bad for the customer base. Because as a good entrepreneur, you should be able to teach your employees to be better than you. That's the goal of an entrepreneur.
What do you make of the person who starts this, does it part-time on weekends, and just stays in that purgatory for a long time where it's tempting to take the jobs during the week, and you have your other full-time gig, and it's hard to jump. Like there's a lot of people who are on that fence, I feel like, in the YouTube space at least that I remember I was in. What do you say to those folks?
Unfortunately, it's a very hard place to be, because you're juggling your job, your passion, or your sideline, and then your family. one of those is going to suffer. Hopefully it's the job. If your family suffers, everything else suffers. It's not good. So you need to say, okay, I'm going to work on my detailing business Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to noon, and that's it. The rest of the time is for the family. If you're stretching that then to 5 o'clock, and then, well, I'm going to take a car on Tuesday night, I'm going to take one on Thursday night, before you know it, your kids are grown up and you don't even know who they are. You need to take time for yourself, for your family, for leisure, not just work. Because if it's just work, you're going to burn yourself out. That's not good for anyone, and you can't start a business that way. Now, if you're thinking of getting into detailing full-time and get rid of that corporate job that you've got and you want to be your own entrepreneur, it can be done. Thousands of people have done it. Unfortunately, thousands of people have also failed at it because they were looking at it from the passion side of detailing. I love polishing paint. Great, you love polishing paint. I'm going to polish every car to perfection. If you do that, you're going to go out of business. Your customers don't care, and your customers don't want to pay for that. I can polish paint to perfection. I've done it many times before, or not perfection. You can't get that far. But I've spent 40, 60, 80 hours polishing a car. But my customer was paying me for it too. And they knew that they were picking up that car in a trailer, they're not driving it again. Because if you're putting that much time into a car and it's going back on the street, it's actually going to look worse in a month than it probably does now. Because if you flattened out all that orange peel, everything is going to show in the car. And your customer got it that way before bringing it to you. Do you think just because they had you polish it and put a ceramic coating on it, they're going to maintain it any differently? They might for a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months. Then they're going to go back to their old routine. So there's no point putting your blood, sweat, and tears, sacrificing your family just to make your ego happy. You went way past what the customer did. I can polish a car for 2 hours, deliver it to a customer, and they're going to be extremely happy. Nick can polish a car for 20 hours, deliver it to the customer. They won't be any happier.
They might not be. Is it worth 18 extra hours?
No.
Is it worth 18 extra hours? Ivan, the paradox of all this is when you're young, you have the most energy.
Yeah.
It might be when you also have the family and
Actually,
the
you
job.
have more energy when you're in your 50s. But anyways.
Apparently, Yvan Lacroix is like that. But if you had the more energy, but this is the time for restraint, and then maybe, it's just not the season to go full time, but then you might get older and things could happen. It's like there's a part of business and the risk-taking aspect of it is like you just got to seize the moment.
Yeah.
You can't plan everything out, right? It's going to unfold in certain ways that you'll never be able to expect.
No, there are times when you just have to jump in. And if you're sure of your skill set and you're able to answer a phone jovially with a smile, then you can actually succeed in detailing. Detailing is not difficult to succeed in. You need to provide exceptional customer service. Because detailing, after all, is just a customer service business. There's no difference between detailing, dog grooming, and a restaurant. All we're doing is satisfying your customers' needs and taking their money.
Well, you were going to do two more. Remember those, because one great part of customer service that I wish I had done is texting the customer photos and videos along the way. Apparently they love that.
Yeah.
And I was the guy, I was like, I'm going to give them the 10 out of 10 result when I'm done. Maybe text them an hour before it's supposed to be picked up, or hey, I'm running late. Like, that was poor customer service and communication. Talk about the communicative texting and videoing along the job.
Yeah. Not something I did because, that wasn't a thing back when I started. We were texting on phones that you had to, press the 1 6 times and, to get to the letter. So texting wasn't really a thing. But in today's day and age, it is. And sharing just a little snippet. Once you've washed the car, you haven't polished it, you haven't done anything, send a picture of the car just washed and your customer will say, are you finished already? And when you say, no, I just washed it, they will tell you it looks like you just polished it.
Yeah.
Because you've cleaned the car and you've cleaned it better than the car wash ever did. So then they're excited about that. And it's like, okay, this is just a wash and it looks this good. I can't wait to see the end.
You can give them little before and afters along the journey, right? A 50-50, dog hair, no dog hair, polished section, unpolished section.
Dog hair. This is somewhere where detailers lose a lot of time. When a customer brings you a dog hair infested vehicle, the first question you have to ask them is the dog going back into the vehicle? If the answer is yes, you don't need to remove every little last stitch of dog hair. The dog is going right back in there. convey to the customer that, look, I can remove all the dog hair, it's gonna cost you this much. Or I'm gonna get the majority of it out, make it clean, and there might be the odd, little dog hair here and there that's stuck in the carpet. Do you want me to go after it with tweezers and all sorts of special tools? Or do you want me to vacuum it, get as much as I can out with a vacuum, and are you good with that? 99% of people that they're putting their dog back in the car, they're happy with that. They don't expect you to get everything out. Your ego and what you've seen online expects you to get everything out, not your customer. Discuss with your customer what their expectation is and meet or exceed their expectation, not what the other detailer online bullying you is saying, oh, you didn't do a good job because I still see if I explode the photo 600 times that there's a dog hair under the back seat. No.
They're not your customer.
No, they're not.
I used to be the detailer who would look at it and notice a spot that was missed and be like, they're not that good of a detailer. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
That's not the game we're playing.
No.
And that's because I've been through these phases and I've succeeded and I've failed. And I've been there, done that. And it's a rough ride, but it can be such a fun ride when things are going well, and the hope and the joy and, I don't know, the passion people have. I want to finish on a positive note.
Yeah.
You mentioned exceptional customer service. I think that we could all aspire to that and get there.
Exceptional,
that's a doable thing,
It's doable. Answer your phone. Smile when you answer the phone. It is amazing the difference in the tone of your voice if you're looking like this when you answer the phone or you look like this when you answer the phone. Smile when you answer the phone. And ask questions to the customer. Don't try to sell them. Be a counselor. You're counseling your services. You're not trying to sell them a thing. You're not trying to sell them a service. You're there to listen to them, understand what they need, and meet their needs. And if they don't know what they need, then you can sort of guide them to, okay, what are you looking for? Or what's wrong with your car? Why are you wanting to have your car detailed? Just that simple question, the customer will say, well, I don't like the look of my car. I feel it's all scratched up, okay? Or it's dull, or when I wash it, it's hard to wash. Those are all things you can address very easily. Now, if your customer says, I've got this inspection light, and when I look at the car with an inspection light, that's when you suggest that customer to go to another detailer in town, because you're gonna polish for 20 hours, they're still gonna get there with the inspection light and look over it. Look, you still have this little scratch here. No. And exceptional customer service is also explaining to the customer what you're doing and what you're not doing, and more importantly, why you're not doing it. And answering the question why will get you the sale.
So exceptional customer service, but there were a couple other things that I think you were headed toward when I interrupted earlier. You said this is what a detailing business really is.
Oh yeah, it is exceptional customer service. That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, that was
Great.
the whole thing.
Now,
I thought it was a list of, okay.
No, you have to have good skills. And another thing, little side note, keep your shop or your work area clean. And I've got a podcast now on the House of Rags called The Garage Audit. Go check it out. And it's every other week, Saturday evenings. I go into someone's, either a mobile detailing rig, their shop, a home garage, it really doesn't matter. But I go in there with, how can I help them be a better detailer? How can I help them be more efficient? And how can I help them be more organized? And it's, I've seen, or people have told me about these shows that, they go into a restaurant, they destroy the owner, and that's not what I do. So if you want your garage audited, let me know. But I'm not going in to make a reality show of, we're gonna beat these people down and then rebuild the restaurant, and then in the end, everyone's happy, right? No, the whole goal is, let's be supportive. Let's see how we can help this person. And you'll get a lot of tips and tricks, not from me, from them along the way. How did they organize their shelves? What did they do to create more space when more space wasn't possible? That's another thing. When your customer walks into your workspace, or you open up your van or pickup truck or whatever, does it look organized? Does it look like it's gonna be clean when it leaves here? Or I'm not sure my car is gonna be cleaner or dirtier when it leaves that place because it's so disorganized.
Ivan, you've opened up a can of worms in terms of how much more there is to talk about.
Yes.
That's why you talked about Detailers Business Academy and your Garage Audit and your House of Rags podcast on Saturdays.
Yep.
Over on the House of Rags. You love talking about this stuff. I don't know that there's a good stopping point. Did you have anything else burning that you really want to say before we end this podcast?
Very simple. Answer your phone.
All right. If you don't answer your phone, you're in trouble. Yvan Lacroix said it. There's another great video about detailing.
Yes.
Where could they find that, Ivan?
Right here.